It seems like a lot of you have had a chance to work with our new Extreme Low Odor system because we're getting a lot of questions. So today I'm going to answer some of the top questions that you guys have had. If you messaged us or contacted our customer service, we've kind of made a list of all of these questions. So I'm going to address a bunch of these today, hopefully clear up some misunderstandings or give you a little bit more information so you can be a little bit more successful with the Extreme Low Odor product. So first question that we get a lot is, why can I still smell the product? Well, here's the thing. It's not an odorless product. It's an extreme low odor. So you do still smell a little bit of kind of a floral fragrance to it. Again, it's not going to be like the fragrance or the smell of a traditional acrylic. It is a lighter fragrance, and it again doesn't smell like a traditional acrylic. Okay. When you have your Dappen dish, even though it is a low odor, you're not going to smell it a whole lot. You always want to make sure that you still keep that closed when you're not using it, okay? It still is a chemical. It still can get into the air. Any chemicals you want to keep to a minimum in your breathing zone, okay? So just because it's a low odor doesn't mean that you want to leave it open all the time, okay? When you do open it, you are going to notice a little bit of a smell to it. It is, like I said, a light floral kind of a fragrance. And usually what happens is as you're working with it, you can maybe smell it right kind of in your workstation, but it's generally not going to go a long distance, if you will. It's not going to travel. So you can, again, still smell it, but it's mainly going to be more in your workstation. Okay. So again, it isn't a low odor. It's not an odorless product. Okay. Second question we get a lot is, why isn't my product setting? Now, here's the thing about the low odor system. Because it's low odor, it tends to harden from kind of the bottom up. So it's almost like a gel in that respect, where it's going to have a little bit of a sticky surface, even though it is fully set. To make sure to check if it's fully set, give it a quick tap with your brush. That's going to show you whether you hear a sharp tap or more of kind of a dull thud. If you hear that more of a dull kind of a sound, it's not quite set. But when you hear that tap, it's going to be fully set. Again, you may still feel that tacky surface, and you can do one of two things to remove that tacky surface. Either using our swipe. So these two nails, I actually just sculpted out before we started our demo here. So they still do have a little bit of that tacky surface. So you can either use the swipe, just like you would with a gel, give it that good wipe, and that'll actually remove a lot of that tacky surface. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't want to use the swipe and you want to just go right into your e-file, you can definitely do that. And that is going to really quick and easily remove that tacky surface. Okay. You're actually going to see a little bit more of that product kind of roll off the nail rather than with a traditional application. Traditional application, you're not going to have that extra little tacky layer. But again, here we're just going to kind of roll a little bit more of that product off. Okay. Now these have actually been sitting for a little bit longer. The longer they sit, the more that tacky surface will dissipate. So on these, I'm not really seeing a ton of that tacky surface rolling off just because they've been sitting a little bit longer. But if you're filing right after you do your application, right after it's set, you're going to see a little bit more of that kind of that tacky surface come off. Okay. Our third nail here, I actually sculpted this a couple hours ago, earlier in the day, and this one actually doesn't have any more of that tacky surface. So the longer you let them sit, the less you're going to have of that tacky surface. Now, are we going to let our nails sit for an hour before we file them? Probably not. So most of the time, you're going to have that little bit of a tacky surface to be working on. And like I said, just use the swipe to remove it, or you can just go right in and file it all off. It is normal. It's part of the whole system. It's part of the process. And it is normal, so don't worry that it's not set. It is set as long as you can hear that tap. Next question we get a lot of is, can I mix this product? We have two acrylic systems now. We have our traditional in the pink bottles with the pink, or the white bottles with the pink label. Now we have our extreme low odor, same white bottle, but that teal colored label, okay? These two do not mix. Same with the powders. Make sure that you're using the liquid for the extreme low odor with the powder for the extreme low odor, okay? If you start trying to mix and match, you start with your pink and you add your teal, it's not going to set up properly, okay? Trust us, we've tried it. I promise you, we want things easy. We want to make sure that, we can use all the products that we want to, but these two systems do not work together, okay? So starting out, do not mix your liquid and powder, your extreme low odor with a traditional system. Now, what can we mix, okay? We get a lot of questions about our liquid art. So liquid art is our colored monomer. So what the colored monomer is it's basically an EMA monomer with our traditional liquid, okay? So it is a monomer, but then there's color pigment added to it, okay? Because it is the traditional monomer, we don't want to be using that with our low odor system, okay? So make sure that you're not mixing these. It is a different chemistry, so we don't want to change that chemistry. Slick pour. Slick pour is an acrylic powder, and it is a traditional acrylic powder. So again, you do not want to be mixing the traditional powder with the extreme low odor, okay? I know, I'm telling you all of these, what you can't do. Now, what can you do? Well, you can customize your powders. So if you're working with the extreme low odor, you can mix those powders together. We do have another demo, another New Year's design where I actually do mix the cover nude and the bright white. So you can definitely mix within the line, just not outside the line. So you don't want to be mixing your traditional powders and your extreme low odor powders, okay? Okay, so again, what can you mix? You can mix glitters, okay? Any of our glitters that are just straight glitter, those you can mix. Anything in the confettis, those larger pieces of confettis, you can definitely mix. And you can mix in the Mylars, okay? So the reason why we can mix these versus these is these are a different chemistry, okay? Anything that has that liquid, those powders, that chemistry is gonna not work very well with the extreme low odor. Because the glitters, the confettis, the Mylars, they don't have any real chemicals that are going to change the chemistry of the low odor, you can go ahead and mix those till your heart's content, okay? If you wanted to, you could mix chrome powders into the extreme low odor, because again, it doesn't have that chemistry that's going to change the liquid and powders of the extreme low odor. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about today is the question of, can I fill traditional product with the low odor? That is definitely something that you can do, okay? So acrylic is going to bond to acrylic. Now, like we always say, if you don't know necessarily what the client has coming in, you generally want to take down that product, remove as much of that product as you can. If it is our Young Nails product and you know that it's on there, you know you've been doing your client's nails for a long time, you can definitely go ahead and fill. But again, if you don't know what's on there, so I sculpted out a nail here that looks like it needs a fill. What you're going to want to do if you are going from a traditional to the odorless, I generally like to just take down a lot of that product and thin that out as much as possible. That way you're kind of getting more of the new product rather than the old product. So just quickly quickly take down that product. That way again, you can replace with the new low odor. You could also clip off that end and just resculpt if you want to. But again, for fills, quick and easy, just take down a little bit more of that product to make sure everything is going to bond really well. Again, go through and do your prep like normal and do your application like normal, and it's going to be just fine. Those are some of the top questions that we get. Hopefully this will give you guys a little bit of clarification when you're using the low odor, give you an idea of some of the things you can and maybe you shouldn't do with the new product. And I hope you guys have fun with it.
Subscribe channel now. Subscribe channel now. Sub and subscribe to channel.